Hi everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how I make multiple spacer beads. And not so much how to make them, but actually putting multiple beads on a mandrel. I know a lot of newbies wonder about this, but you can actually put a bunch of beads on one mandrel. And so what you want to do when you do this process is you want to make one bead closest to the hand that's holding the mandrel, and make sure you have the final shaping all done of that bead, because once you're done with it, you never go back. So that's where the cracking happens for the most part, is if you went back after that bead had cooled down a little bit and went back and tried to reheat it. Then you're going to have the cracking and shattering that goes on with beads and with glass in general. So you want to make one bead at a time. And I have this video sped up and I'm going even faster now just so that you don't have to sit there and watch me make all these little beads. But you never want to go back to the first bead after you got your last bead on, whether you have 5 beads, whether you have 16 beads on a mandrel. It all depends on how much bead release you dipped on that mandrel of how many you can fit on there. But you don't want to put that first bead or the previous beads ever again in your torch flame. Yes, sometimes you might have one of those first beads like crack on you in the kiln, but for the most part, it's rare. And if you're going to make multiple sizes, so if I want to make some smaller ones, some a little bigger ones, I would say do the bigger ones last. So you put the smaller ones towards the inside of the mandrel and work your way out and put the bigger ones, fatter ones, towards the end of the mandrel, the last ones you do. And then you have less of a chance of any cracking happening. But so basically you just go along and you space them apart so that they don't melt in and touch each other. So you want to have a little bit of gap there. But you can actually put, right here I have, what do I have, 7? I have 7 beads. And there you have it. 7 beads on a mandrel. And that's only because I didn't dip it. If I would have dipped it deeper and had more bead release on there, I could have put more. So the only other thing that you might come across is if you have striking colors. So this is a red, and even though it's an opaque red, a lot of times after it's heated, you want to go back and give it a nice warm glow after it cools down a little bit one final time so that it gets the nice rich red back in it. And so this would be for either transparent striking colors or any of your reds and oranges and yellows that might actually strike a little bit better when you reheat it. And so basically what I do for these when I'm making little spacer beads is I make the first one, then I start making the second one, and after I roll it on, see, I go back and reheat that first one again. So after I lay down the glass for the second one, and my first one is already cool, there's no more glow in it, I go back and give it a little touch of reheat again to strike it. If you're using actually a striking transparent red or orange, you might need to go back, twice. So I might actually, if you don't see it turn nice and black, because with striking colors, they turn kind of clear. And if you don't see it turn nice and black or grayish, if it's an orange or what have you, you might want to heat it again after you're shaping the bead next to it. But you want to keep going back to the previous bead. But then again, you never go back to that first bead. So because the bead next to the one you're making is still a little bit warm, so you can go back and reheat it a little bit to strike it, but you're not letting it cool totally like that first bead is. So only go back one bead at a time for striking issues. If you do have to go back multiple times because it really doesn't look like it's striking, you can do that. So just shape your new bead a little bit, go back and touch up the previous bead with a little bit of striking, but never go all the way back to your first bead. And as you could see here, you could see the bead that's closest in towards my holding hand. It's actually cooling enough to turn a little bit of reddish. You can kind of see that. But so it is getting a way too cool. If I heated that now, it would definitely crack. You don't want to put it back in the flame. But even so, all the beads I made, and I probably made 30 or 40 beads yesterday, none of them cracked in the kiln. They all survived. And so there you have it. Fatter beads towards the end, the last ones you do, skinnier beads towards the inside, and just never go back and reheat. Thanks for watching.